Welcome to the Safety in Numbers podcast. I'm your hostess, Sheila Hansen. This is episode 14 and part 4 of my classroom management series. So if you felt like you've had it up to here with your students or you're swamped with other things to do, I'm here to help. Quick review of parts 1 through 3. Part 1 was building a connection with your students is the first step to building effective classroom management. Part 2 was about having a strong chain of support. Part 3 was defining what you need as to be an effective teacher and teaching the students how to do it using respectful reminders. And good classroom management gives you the keys to your kingdom. It makes for situations where you can have higher quality teaching. It makes for a safe classroom, and it makes for you to love your job, your students, and your school. And there is no one-size-fits-all formula that works in all classes with all students at all times. You have to create your own management system that fits your personality and the level of your students. The key to any management system is consistency and honesty. In this episode, we're going to focus on knowing what you're worth and where your boundaries are, and some good ways of holding those boundaries. Because when you set and hold healthy boundaries, you teach your students how to set and hold their own healthy boundaries. It's important as a teacher to know what you're worth. Do you ever feel like you're not really good at what you do or that you're faking it? I felt like that a lot, but I realized that when I faked it, things went well. And as I thought about that, it meant that I wasn't actually faking it, I was just doing as I should be. Sometimes I felt like, then I'm not really good because I'm just pretending to be good. But no, that's actually what you're doing. You are doing what you were trained to do. Now, why do you deserve to be treated with respect? Well, there's the idea of you have a position of authority over your students, and students should be respectful to people who are in a position of authority. That is a trait or a skill that they need to learn in life. But I am a believer, and I know that God created me. In Him, I have my value. It's like a painting by Da Vinci is worth way more than a painting by me, simply because of who painted it. So I have value because of who made me. And everyone, including myself, deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. So what does respect look like? Well, respect is listening to someone when they speak, giving them time and effort to make a healthy relationship, including holding their boundaries as well as yours. How do you earn a person's respect? You don't. Respect is a gift that's given, and the choice is solely by the one who is giving the respect. So you might deserve totally to be respected by everyone, and it is up to the other people to actually treat you with respect. I can also choose to be respectful to someone whom I find offensive, because that's what I believe, that's how Jesus wants me to be. However, demanding respect from everyone is a fool's errand. You have to be respectful, and you might get respect in return. And generally with my students, I find that when I treated them with respect, they usually would return the favor and treat me with respect. Not always, but probably about 95% of the time. And generally it increased as the year went on, and they realized who I am and that I'm a person of integrity who's going to do what I say I'm going to do. And I'm going to treat them with the respect that I gift them. Why do your students deserve to be treated with respect? Well, your students deserve to be treated with respect for a lot of reasons. Number one is because they need to learn what that looks like. Number two, you never know what has happened in that little child's life that day or is happening right as they speak. And sometimes a harsh word can be the straw that broke the camel's back. But a respectful and kind word can be what gets them through that day. And you never know what else is going on. And third, because you're way more likely to get respect in return when you treat other people with respect. And if you are disrespectful, you're way more likely to be treated disrespectfully in return. Boundaries. You must know where your personal boundaries are, and that's going to be different for every person. So how do you know what a boundary is? Well, in general, you know someone's crossed a boundary when you feel uncomfortable or uneasy. So, myself, for instance, I have a pretty large personal bubble, and if a child came in too close, I would just gently ask them, please take a step back. And then I would tell them, I'm just uncomfortable with people being so close in my personal bubble. My personal bubble is approximately 3/4 of an arm's length. I should be able to reach out and touch your shoulder, but I should not be able to reach out and give you a headlock. If a student wanted a hug, I would request that they ask me first. Because sometimes 7th grade kids have the mentality of like a 2nd or a 3rd grader, and they just come running up to you and give you a hug. I am not comfortable with that at all. That's my boundary. It's my personal space. So I would say, please ask me before you hug me. Some people say that sounds mean, like you don't want to be hugged. Well, I might not. And if I don't want to be hugged, this is my body. This is my space. I don't have to allow someone else to hug me if I don't feel like being hugged. And sometimes if I'm not feeling like I want to be hugged that day, I might say, please don't hug me today. I'm not feeling like hugging. Maybe high five or fist bump or something like that instead. But I would prefer that they ask me before they hug me. And if you think about it, especially with girls need to know that their bodies are theirs and that no one else has the right to do anything without your own personal permission. So if I say, no, I don't feel like I'm being hugged today, I'm teaching the other girls that that's okay to say, I don't want you to touch me today or ever. I'm also not good with chaos, and sometimes I need a minute to gather my thoughts. And so I would tell them, okay, guys, just give me a minute, and then I'll be ready. And they would keep talking oftentimes. I'm like, guys, when I say give me a minute, I mean I need for you to be quiet for a minute and not talk to me. But we can do that. No, I need you to not talk. Please don't talk. Give me a minute. And then they would do it. It takes a little while for them to understand what you mean by give me a minute. I would often have to repeat these things like a broken record until even into the 4th quarter, because all kids are learning social cues at different rates and different times. Some kids are learning a certain social cue at the beginning of the year, while other kids don't come up to that socialization learning until the end of the year. So sometimes you just have to remember to repeat your boundaries, and that your boundaries are non-negotiable. It's not that I can talk you into letting me take a little bit of boundary that you don't want to give. No, my boundaries are my boundaries. I don't feel like being hugged today. Let's do a high five instead. Fist bump. I often would explain my boundaries the first time with a student. Say like, I'm not real comfortable. I'm not a real hugger kind of person. I said, but I can give you a side hug once in a while, just not every day. I would explain that. After a while, if they continue to try and come in and get hugs, that's the main thing I'm thinking of right now. There are other ways that kids cross boundaries. But I would simply repeat it. Please don't hug me today. Please don't hug me today. Fist bump, high five, whatever else that you want to do. By my being respectful and firm on my boundaries, I teach them how to do the same. And again, especially girls. Girls have a tendency to allow everybody to walk all over their boundaries in an effort to be liked by other people. And we need for girls to know that they have value and worth even when they set a boundary and hold their boundaries. That doesn't make them an unlikable person. It is not mean to say, no, I don't want to do that. Here are some examples of my personal boundaries. I don't like for people to talk when I'm talking. That's a boundary. The value is that I'm worth being heard. I don't like for people to take and use my things without asking. It's not that they can't use my stuff. It's that I want them to ask me because I am worth being asked. I don't like it when people don't respect my time and my personal space. The value is that I'm worth taking a break and not taking work home with me. That's my value. So boundaries all connect with something that you value. So how do you hold those boundaries? Well, let's take the first one, for instance. I don't like for people to talk when I'm talking. That's my boundary. The value, I'm worth being heard, and I believe that to be true. So how do I hold that boundary? How do I hold that line? I say things like, please don't talk when I talk. That was my go-to line for my classroom. Please don't talk when I talk. And I wasn't like, please don't talk when I talk. I'm like, please don't talk when I'm talking. Or may I finish what I was saying first? Or sometimes I would just wait, let them complete their thought and finish what they were saying, and then I would complete my thought. Or I would say, I'm going to finish my thought now, and then you can go. Those are ways of holding the line. Another one, I don't like for people to take and use my things without asking. My value is that I'm worth being asked. So how would I hold that line? I'd say, this is my desk. Please ask me before you take something off of it. Or I would say, I don't let anyone borrow my favorite pencil, because I wouldn't. I would have these very nice, fancy mechanical pencils, and I'd had them for like 5 years. They're really good pencils, and I never loaned them out to anyone. So I would say, I don't let anyone borrow my favorite pencil. I want people to ask before using my things. And sometimes I would just say, no. Miss Hanson, can I play with the toy on your desk? Miss Hanson, can I have Grover sit on my desk today? No. But, no. No. Grover belongs to me. I don't need to explain anything. I also always made a point to ask my students before I touched their things. So if I was going to help them find their homework, I would say, may I look in your folder, please? May I see your binder? Can I hold your homework so I can see it better? I would always ask them before I touched their things. So it was mutual. I expected them to ask to touch my things, and I always asked before I touched things that belonged to them. And the next one, I don't like it when people don't respect my time and personal space. My value is that I'm worth taking a break, and I'm worth not taking work home with me. So I would hold the line by saying things like, I will answer email from home if I get time. I grade papers during my planning time. My family time is for my family. I'm going to eat lunch, and I'm going to talk with my friends during lunch. That's how I would hold that personal space boundary. Now, did it mean that I got everything done when it needed to get done? No, it didn't. But I also took care of myself and my heart and got to spend and be filled by my family and my family time, because I do not need to give my entire self to my classroom. If I do that, there's nothing left of me. I need my family time. I need my vacation time. I need my exercise time and my time away from work to be a complete person. And there is nothing wrong with that. It's sad that these days the teachers who give everything to the classroom, often in an unhealthy way, are the ones who receive a lot of accolades and awards. They gave so much time. They were always in the classroom. They were always doing this. Yeah, but emotionally and as a way of balancing their life, it's not a healthy way to do things. But teachers who leave on time, come to work on time, and get their work papers graded during their planning time, go unseen. Holding a boundary. You'll find that when you hold a boundary, some people think you're mean. It isn't mean. That happens because holding a boundary makes other people uncomfortable because they feel awkward for crossing your boundary. That awkwardness is a signal to them that they've done something they oughtn't do, and that's why they feel bad. That just means that your boundary is working. You don't have to sacrifice your boundaries to make everybody else feel comfortable. That's something I think every teacher needs to know. You don't have to sacrifice your boundaries to make everybody else feel comfortable. That isn't your job. It isn't healthy for you, and it is not healthy for your students, because they learn that it's okay to cross other people's boundaries because I am the most important thing in the world. And we all know that when you get out in the world, there's a lot of other things that are more important. And a lot of times you cross boundaries when you shouldn't, and it's dangerous. So learning how to set and hold a boundary is good for you and it's good for your students. People who respectfully hold their boundaries are those assertive people that you're always hearing talk about. They're not aggressive and that stay away from me. No, they're assertive. They're still kind and respectful, but they let you know where the boundary is and they hold it. And they say, stop right there. Don't come any closer. That's my boundary. Students tend to be drawn to these people who are assertive because they know what to expect from them. And they feel safe around them because they know that that teacher has a boundary and they're going to hold it. And they're not going to cross the student's personal boundaries either. Holding boundaries often pulls up emotional baggage. And we all bring emotional baggage to the classroom. Because everyone who is making their way through this world know that this world is not a perfect place. And people get hurt. They have memories of sad things that have happened or difficult things that have happened. And you all come to that in your heart, and so do your students. But your students are not an outlet for your baggage, nor are they your therapist. Your students are children. They are not there for you to unload your emotional baggage on. I have seen teachers do this, especially one substitute teacher in particular, that was only in my class once, and then I wouldn't let them in my class again. I cannot say what it was about, but they were basically using the class as a way of spouting the difficult things that had happened in their life recently, and it wasn't appropriate to share that sort of thing in a classroom. Check your emotional temperature before you start class. Think before you speak. If you have had a stressful day or if something stressful is going on in your life outside of school, I would say something like, hey kids, today I'm worried about this sick family member. So I may have a bit of a short fuse and I might be a little snappy when I talk to you. I just want you to know that I don't mean to be. I just feel a little distracted right now. So please be patient with me. And when I would say that, every kid knows what it's like to feel like that. They would give me that grace. You've heard of stimulus response. In your college or psychology courses, you have stimulus and you have response. But there's a space between. Your students are a stimulus that you cannot control. It's okay to take a few minutes before you respond about something that has happened. That's what a timeout is for. Say, I need a minute to think about this. Please wait. So in this illustration, you see the stimulus, which is your students. That's what's in purple there. The stimulus are things that happen to you, and you have no control over what happens to you. What you do have control over is the blue part, the response. But there can be a space between those two. You do not have to respond instantaneously, especially if you're a new teacher and you're just building those tools that you need to respond to situations. So I would often have some pre-made responses because I'm an emotional person. And when things happen unexpectedly, sometimes I can't remember or think about what to do. So I would have some sort of a pre-made response that can give me a little space so I can respond with thought and with control. So it would be things like, please wait in the timeout space until I send for you. I need to think about this for a minute. Or sometimes I would say something like this. I'm going to need to email your parents and we're going to need to decide on a course of action going forward. Please have a seat and we'll talk about this later. What I hope you've gleaned from this video is that everyone, including you, deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. My dog's having a nice long scratch. Everyone, including you, deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. Know your boundaries. When you hold your boundaries, it can make people uncomfortable, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It means it's working. Assertively holding your boundaries makes you a safe person because people know what to expect from you and they know that you will respect others. And Wally says hi. Say hi, Wally. Oh, Wally's allowed to cross my boundaries. Thanks for watching today. In our next episode, we're going to talk about the difference between consequences and punishment. I've actually already done a video on this, so I may just do a shortened version of it in the next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in class.